Hey guys, it's Danielle from the Executive Board of Maine. I am the director for Springford High School in Royersford, PA. And as part of our virtual season profiles, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I took the steps to start planning for this virtual season. One of the ways we're making Winter Guard this season special is that we're letting the kids get involved in the show design and choreography part of the season. We did this during marching band, and the kids really enjoyed being a part of that. They actually wrote probably 50% of the show this past fall, so it was something really special that we wouldn't do in a normal year. And as they were registering this year, they kind of got to tell me how involved they wanted to be, if they just wanted to be a member, if they wanted to teach, or if they wanted to be a part of show design and choreography. And we got a really good response from a lot of the members as they were registering this year. In a normal year, Springford has about 30 to 35 members. We usually field 2 different color guards, one competing in the A class and one competing in the regional A class, so kind of a varsity JV situation. Once my students all registered for Winter Guard, I ended up with 34 students interested in Winter Guard, which is really awesome, but I knew that meant that 2 groups wasn't going to be enough, unfortunately, so I ultimately decided to split them into 3 different groups. So I have 12 in one and 11 in the other 2. And that sounds like a lot, and it is, but I knew that that was going to be best for my staff and my students to make sure that everyone was still comfortable participating in Winter Guard and to keep the program going as much as possible. Once we had the group situation figured out, it was much easier to finish planning for the rest of the season. And one way that we're making the season distinctively different from a normal season, since it's not a normal season, is that we're actually going to be doing one theme for all 3 groups. Obviously, in a normal year, our 2 teams would never have shows that were related to each other, so it was just another fun way to kind of add a twist to a very different season. Since all 3 groups are going to be doing shows that are related to each other, we actually decided that the easiest way to participate in the virtual season is to submit as e-showcase. One of the big pluses for us is that we get to be really creative with the staging and how the video is edited. We're lucky here at Springford because we have an outstanding TV and video production staff in the district, so we'll be tapping them to help us really ultimately produce an amazing video that they'll be able to hang on to as memories for years to come. And that was ultimately what really sold us on the e-showcase submission for our group. In the beginning, when I was planning for the season, I felt really overwhelmed with all of the unknown in the future. But once I started to kind of focus on the kids and what I know I can give them as opposed to what I can't give them, it became a lot easier to make the decisions. And once I made one, all of the other ones kind of fell into place, and I found myself to be excited finally for Winter Guard to start. And we're really lucky because we are able to be in person right now, finally in January. So I'm really hopeful that the rest of the season is going to be amazing. Hopefully kind of hearing my story about how I planned the season and how I made my decisions will help you make your decisions. If I have one piece of advice, it's that definitely bounce your ideas off of your staff or other directors. I found that really helpful when it came to making my decisions. So best of luck to everybody, and hopefully we'll get to see each other in the gym soon.
Hi, I'm Jackie from Pegasus. So I am going to try and help the independent teams as far as like lower level. So I can tell you that what is happening, it changes every day. So the only thing I can recommend to you is to stay up to date. state, local, and CDC. And then in addition to that, your facility guidelines. So if you're in a rec department or YMCA or anything like that, you need to make sure that you're staying within their guidelines too. I know that one of our facilities is having us do COVID release forms every time we go. So just make sure you're open and honest with them about your procedures and what you need to do for them. Be aware of what your area, your members are coming from. So with our team, they're pretty local. They're in within like 2 counties, where like AMP or Fusion may be coming from states. So we have it a little bit easier, but you still want to know, like, okay, you have different school settings, who's going to school, who's remote, where cases are, and just do something you're comfortable with. Don't try and push something that you're not comfortable with, and then you put yourself in a bad situation. So because everything is so crazy and changing constantly, the best thing I can tell you is to stay as organized as possible. So we have one admin person who is dealing with all of the COVID things, logistics, that kind of thing, and taking a backseat from teaching the kids just because there's so much out there, and it is constantly changing. So we have to make sure that we are staying on top of that, and there's very many moving parts. So in order for that to all come together and be correct, we need to have one person who manages all of those things. Communication. So Google's a really good resource, using Google Forms and Google Docs. It's a way to get surveys and things out to parents and members to find out where their comfort level is. And then you take that data and information and then you try and come up with a plan that everybody's comfortable with. Of course, you're not going to get everybody happy at the same time. It's life. But at least you're trying your best to do what you can. So this, when I reached out to Matt from AMP, he actually brought this up in a previous meeting as well. Make sure you contact your insurance company, find out what your policy actually covers. Our policy covers infectious diseases, but they told us flat out they do not cover anything COVID related. So just be honest with your members, and if you do deal with parents, the parents, and make sure they sign a waiver that you are not being held responsible if anybody were to get sick. And then just be honest and upfront. Know where you and your staff are comfortable at, and just try to do what you can to make sure that everybody is comfortable. Health and safety procedures, pretty much doing everything that we can. So we're doing health and temp screenings. The normal questions: have you been outside the state in 14 days? Have you been exposed? Have you been tested? When it comes to temperature screenings, we are not putting the actual temperature on paper. We're just putting, yes, they were, permitted to be a practice because they were normal temp, or no, they were above normal temp. You start getting a little fuzzy with liability when you actually put the number down. We have a sanitation station set up at all rehearsals and events for the kids to go and use if they need it. We have open doors and windows for airflow. One of the other facilities we use during the week is very small. It's a VFW hall, so it's not very ventilated with air. So we try and do that cross air, to get as much fresh air into the room. They wear masks at all times. And we also split the kids up into smaller groups. So our junior team is actually in 2 groups, just because we didn't want to overfill the room. And with chandeliers and whatever else we have going on in the room, we want to make sure that the kids are safely spread out 6 feet apart. So with that being said, we split them. And then the regional A team is coming in. There's 10 members who are evenly spaced 6 feet apart. But it's easier for them to come in a bigger group because they understand better, stay in the spot where, we have a 7-year-old who it says stay 6 feet apart, and she gets it for the most part, but, there are times that she's running around. It's like, no. We send out family surveys often to make sure that the parents are all on board and on the same page, and so is the staff and the members. like I said in the previous slide, stay up to date. The numbers, the guideline info, it changes constantly. Just try your best to be on top of it. We also have COVID-19 quick guides available for any members or parents or staff who feel the need that they need one. Of course, everybody knows what COVID's about right now, so it's not necessary, but we just have them on hand just in case. We do have our members bring everything in a backpack with a beach towel. So some guards I've heard are taping X's onto the floor to mark their spot. When we have the kids come in, we do the health screenings. They go to their spot, they take out the beach towel, that's their spot. They have to stay there, and everything stays in their bag. So if they do have to move, they just pick up the bag and move. So those are our procedures as of right now. We had our first rehearsal on Tuesday, and everything went well. So what is our plan for 2021? Well, right now it's this, but weeks from now it could change. So as of right now, as far as the Regional A team, competition is not our focus. So our goal this year is to educate, engage, and train. These are the future designers, they're future instructors, world-class performers. So we want to make sure that they're prepared for their future. Because we are in a Regional A category and division, it's really important to me as a staff member to make sure that my kids are educated for the future, and they're ready for what's out there. This is a younger division, so we try and do that. We're going to take the kids' weakness and try and work on that a little bit, where we wouldn't have time during a season, and then introduce harder skills and the tricky things while still keeping technique and training a top priority. So that's our goal. We are doing an ensemble standstill. There are some facility challenges, so we can't do drill. We're not doing a full show. We're not even going to try. You just don't know what the future is going to bring, so it's just not in our best interest with time constraints and facility issues, and it's very challenging to begin with, so we're not going to try and force a full show with all the bells and whistles. It's just going to be stressful for everybody. So I'd rather take a step back and educate the kids and make them stronger. Not that it's an off season, but it is a different season. So while we have the opportunity, that's what we're going to focus on. This ensemble standstill also gives them a competitive component. I didn't want to do e-showcase the whole time just because then there would be no competition at all. And I didn't think the kids would do well with no competition at all. So that's where our competitive component comes in, but it's not a focus. And then we're submitting e-showcase videos with different focuses. So we're doing a movement, we're doing a weapon, just to introduce skills to the kids that haven't had them yet. And because that's not competitive, at least that gives them a chance to get whatever in their hands, to explore movement, and perform it. So performing skills come into play, and that's what we're going to really focus on. We did tell the members that there are solos available. Members create on their own time and then bring it to the staff, and then we will educate them and help them work through it. They're going to pick the music. They're going to write most of it. We'll tweak it here and there and explain why. Kind of be a mentor to them, and then we'll submit it, and that's going to be that. But with our facility challenges, it's just they have to do it on their own, and that's just the way that's going to be. We also send out virtual things. So in the beginning of the season, I sent out a Google slide presentation with all kinds of skills for each thing. If you guys want to take a look at that, you could always contact me. I still have it. I can send it to you. So that's a really good resource. Any videos you find. We had a few Zoom discussions where we put up a video and we would talk the kids through it. What'd you like, what you didn't like, all that kind of stuff over the first part of COVID, just to keep them engaged. WGI has a lot of resources on their website. You can do that. There's a lot of free dance classes right now through Zoom and Google that you can look into. You just send the link to your members, they can sign on. And then there's something called Marching Health, It's on Facebook, and right now they're doing like couch to winter guard workout, and it's just workout and conditioning that gets the performer ready for what's coming next. Another program that we're running is a guest program, so we're having a few guests come in. So we're having a personal trainer come in to help condition them. We're having a dance person come in to teach them, like a trained dancer, to come in and teach them a dance routine, just to mix it up a little bit, and that way it's not just us, and giving them a different opportunity, a different experience, while we have the opportunity to do that. So, and again, they have to all be, following our guidelines and all that kind of stuff. Facilities, yes, very challenging. It took me a while to find a facility, but just go into Google and type in indoor soccer fields near me, and a whole bunch of stuff will pop up. Just email everyone. Someone will get back to you. You can also look into YMCAs. Some New York sports clubs have gyms that you can look into, that you can rent out, basketball courts. So again, you have to find out what their COVID guidelines are, be upfront about your guidelines and program. What I've found is averaging about $100 an hour. So some are a little bit more, not very many are less. So that's where the price point is in this area. So we are charging a virtual season fee. So our dues yearly are $550 for the regional A team. So this year we're charging $125, and that covers the facility fees. So we came up with a total, split it by the 10 members we have, and that's what we're going by. But like I said, they're out there. You just got to keep trying. You'll find one eventually. It's challenging. I get it. So how does an independent unit get through 2021 and remain strong for 2022? So as an admin member, that's where we are focused as far as the season. I don't really have an answer. There is no general answer. It's basically what you think is best. But with us charging a fee for the facilities, materials and supplies, PPE, that's not out of our pocket. So that helps. We're also doing fundraisers that are not in person. But we do realize that we have to build up the organization. So we are doing the calendar fundraiser, which can be done virtually online, and they just collect the money through Venmo or whatever, and they bring it, because we used to host a show every year, and now we don't have that. So we need to make sure that our pot stays full so that we're financially ready to appear in 2022. So you can also link up with the smaller groups in your area. So we are in an area that has, many different color guards. I'm obviously not going to take my 10 and bring them to Fusion that has however many in their gym. But if you find another color guard, like the novice color guards or the regional A color guards who are smaller, you can always try and link up with each other to do the virtual tricky trees, a raffle, a pancake breakfast, or a restaurant fundraiser, which is obviously curbside, but that way, both teams are benefiting, and it makes it worthwhile. Because if you have 10 kids bringing 10 guests, it's not really going to do anything. But if you have 20 kids bringing 20 guests and a little extra, then it's kind of worthwhile. And we're all in this together. So we kind of have to work together. We have to get through this together. So, so what does the future bring? Again, I don't know. So what we're doing is stay active, present, and engaged. This is not the year to make major changes. Keep the activity and organization alive. We're all in this together. So that's what we're just teaching our kids. We're staying positive and just doing what we can in whatever capacity we can do it in. So just a side note, we do have a junior team. So it's little ones. They are up to 13. And as young as 6 and 7. So we split them into smaller groups. They're doing small ensemble competition. And again, they're continuing training. So we get the opportunity now, because we have 7, 8, and 9-year-olds, and we have 11, 12, and 13. We're splitting them up so that we can have that group of kids be pushed, highlight their strengths, work on their weaknesses without the younger kids and having to manage that, both age group and that breakup. So they are the same team and they are the same unit. We're just splitting them to work on different skills, and not overcrowding the facility. And then we moved 2 of our older junior members who would have to move up next year. We moved them up a year early just because there's no pressure of competition this year. So we're giving them the opportunity to work without that pressure with the regional A team. So it's more of a transition for them, because why not take the opportunity? So here's my contact info. If you need anything or want to chat or want any of the virtual stuff we've sent out or any ideas, you can email me at the Pegasus2winterguard@gmail, or that's my cell phone number. Just shoot me a text and I'll get back to you. So that's it. So thanks for joining me. I hope I helped. Again, if you have any questions or anything like that, just don't be afraid to email or send me a text. All right. Have a good night. Stay safe. Bye.